Okay, this is the Merrillville Planning Commission meeting, Tuesday, October 18th, 6:33 PM. Okay, I will be calling the meeting to order. We will all stand with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah. Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Secretary, Jeff?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Rich is absent. Mr. Holtz, absent. Mr. Mellon.
Here.
Mr. Deering.
Here.
Mr. Pettit.
Here.
I am here, Madam President.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, we have a quorum, so we could continue on with the meeting. Can I have an approval, motion to approve the minutes of September 6th, 2022?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, the minutes have been approved with the motion and a second. Okay, are there any communications?
Yes, Madam President. At everyone's place, I had Joanna place a meeting notice. As President of the Redevelopment Commission, I'm calling a joint workshop between the Redevelopment Commission and the Plan Commission for next Tuesday night before our town council meeting at 5:45. I invited Mr. Hall, who's in the audience, Mr. Sandy from Robinson Engineering, and Bob Swentz from London Witty. And I want to discuss and let everyone, Plan Commission, kind of have a feel for, and obviously I invited Councilman Bella, it's in his ward, to talk about the Whitcomb Street feasibility study that's kind of part and parcel of what we're going to be looking at tonight. We've got two petitions for final PUD approval. Margie and Jeff, as you know, that comes to us at the council. And then, Mr. Hall will be moving forward from talking to Randy. 84th Avenue is pretty much in, I think.
Sure.
And so next spring, development's going to be taking place out there. We as a town need to have a strategy on what that Whitcomb Street is going to look like. Bob's firm, Robinson Engineering, submitted a proposal to Steve and the town, and I'd like to go through that, guys. So Tuesday night at 5:45 before the Redevelopment Commission.
Okay.
That'll be at 6:15. There's only a couple items
Sure.
on that, and then we have the council meeting at 6:30. So I
Thank
wanted
you,
to
Sean.
invite the Plan Commission
We
members.
will be there.
And Sheila, if you'd be so kind to let Mr. Holtz and Mr. Rich know,
I will.
okay?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all, Madam President.
Thank you, Sean. Continuing on with the agenda, there are no comments from me. I will go right on to new business. Item 1, P15184-1022. Al Bartley petitioner and 86th Place Partners, LLC owner, located at approximately 1400 East 86th Place. Their request, final 4-lot subdivision approval for 86th Place, partners on 2.5 acres in a M1, limited industrial zoning district. Purpose, office and warehouse buildings. Okay, Al, what have you got to say?
How are you guys? I think everybody's seen everything that we had going on there.
Right.
So, we're doing 4 8,000 square foot buildings across there. So it's gonna be a nice development for the area and similar to what
Yes.
we did up front.
Sure, I believe this is in Sean's ward. Sean, do you
Right
have
across the
any?
street from me.
Oh, yes. Oh, you'll have some good.
I don't have any problems with it, Madam President.
Just
Okay,
real quick, Mr. President, just for the minutes to show Mr. Rich is here, present.
okay. Hello, Mr. Rich, good to see you.
Hey, guys.
Okay, I remember you being at the workshop and all of us going over this, so I think everything is in order myself. Can we take a roll call vote or take
Do
a
we want
motion?
to have Sheila read the report?
Oh, yes. Sheila, please read the
She
report.
took the time to write the report.
Sure, the staff report.
Petitioner is seeking
Keep me going,
final
Sean.
4-lot subdivision approval in an M1 Limited Industrial Zoning District on 2.50 acres located at 1400 East 86th Place. The proposed subdivision will be called Bartley 86th Place and have 4 industrial warehouse buildings placed on each lot. The subdivision will be served with curb, gutter, street, shoulders, and ditches, common water, and sanitary sewers. Petition received a variance from developmental standards approval to have a reduction in the minimum lot size and lots not having access to a public road.
Madam President, I make a motion to approve P15FS 4-1022.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Sean Pettit to approve the project. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Mellon. Okay, do we need a roll call vote for that, too?
Yes.
Yes. Roll call vote, please, Mr.
Mr. Rich?
Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Mellon,
Yes.
Mr. Schilling,
Ooh,
yes. Mr. Pettit,
Yes.
I'm a yes, and Madam President.
Yes.
We have 5 yeses.
Okay, 5 yeses, motion approved. Thank you, Al.
Thank
Have
you.
a good evening. Okay, continuing on with the agenda, we will go to item 2. P16FP2-1022, FRS Merrillville LLC petitioner and owner, located at 3800 West 87th Avenue and 8415 Whitcomb Street. Requests final planned unit development plat approved for Liberty Estates Phase 5 on 17.487 acres in a planned unit development. Purpose residential. Okay, what do we have?
May I hand this out, Madam Chairman?
Can you what?
May I hand this out?
Sure.
Last time we met, there was some desire to see just the overall
Thank you.
Right,
layout again, so that we can understand ingress, egress, and
sure.
things like that, so I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, well, I think you went over a lot too
Paying him, Randy.
But I did.
at the workshop. If the board members will recall, we went over all of this at the workshop too.
Complex.
Okay, questions and comments from the board, starting with,
We haven't,
what?
I don't know if you
Oh,
have
do
anything.
you have a program to present?
I was just gonna introduce Sean Proctor, Turing Engineering, doing the engineering on this project. We're phase 5, of what you see on that sheet, 16 apartment buildings, I think 274 units, 1 lot.
I believe we went over a lot of this at the workshop, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Madam President, I have one quick question for Randy, with this overall layout, Randy, or maybe actually to Sheila. The town has already approved 1, 2, and 3, have we not? Final?
Final plat
Yes.
for 1, 2, and 3 has
1,
been
2, and 3
approved.
have been final PUD at the council.
So the final PUD was already approved for the entire 200 acres. Now
Right.
we're going back to approve
Phase
plats.
by phase?
Phase by phase.
All right, but we've done 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
okay. Questions, comments? Mr. Rich,
None of this.
Mr. Mellon,
Not at this time?
Brian,
No, I'm good.
Sean,
I asked my question.
Jeff?
I'm good.
Okay. How about a staff report, Sheila?
Petitioner is seeking final plan unit development plat approval for Liberty Estates Phase 5 on 17.487 acres in a planned unit development to build multifamily residential housing. This development will be called Liberty Estates Apartments. The subdivision will be served with common water, curb, gutter, street, sanitary sewers, storm sewers, and street lights. Surface water will be piped into a detention pond via storm sewers.
Do we have a traffic report, Steve and Robert? Anything on a traffic report?
Yeah, we had a traffic study done. Randy's provided that to us. That's how we came up with the corridor study. that we're gonna discuss here in the next couple weeks. So we do have the traffic study.
Okay, very good.
Madam Chairman, I haven't been over there in a while. The last time I drove down the bad curve, it looked like Randy and everybody else had raised that up quite a bit, and I think this is gonna be something we're gonna talk about next week at the combined meeting. But I just wanna make sure, so just to give us a preview, Sean, is the plan to straighten that out a bit more and widen that part of Whitcomb Street where that bad drop-off was?
That's gonna be,
That's-
Robert, that's gonna put
that-
Robertson on the
that's-
spot. That's gonna be.
that's actually
part
part of the
feasibility.
study.
What are the options?
You know, I can't even comment on that until we really get
Right.
in
Yeah.
the nuts and the bolts of it,
That's the
so.
whole point of the
We'll
feasibility
be
study
looking
is-
at everything.
Could it be 3 lanes? Could it be curb and gutter 4 lanes? Could it be a realignment, as we
Well, and
talked about?
as far as the traffic study goes, what did it really point to? I mean, I know a lot of people that work at the government complex use that route. I know people that work in Sherrville and Merrillville, or live in Sherrville and Merrillville, take that way to go to Crown Point to go to work. I mean, what kind of traffic are we seeing today versus what we're gonna see when this very large development goes in?
Well, it's pretty similar because there's a lot of traffic that goes through there, period. With the increased traffic, I don't have the study in front of me, Brian, but with the recommendations of the study, Randy and his plans has gone and, there's some widening up the turn lanes at US 30 and some things like that were recommended. Stuff like that's gonna take place to ease the traffic and get it off of Whitcomb and onto 30 quicker. So, and I don't know, like I said, I don't have the study with me. There's, it's 200 pages like every traffic study is. But, I know that was one of the recommendations that Randy's gone through with as far as, the improvements at the Route 30, and Whitcomb, intersection.
And the other thing that we probably will discuss, or Bob's firm will look at, is, once Randy gets started, he's put in 84th, and we start seeing stuff pop up out of the ground next spring. I was advised by Angie Chilcott, the Economic Development Director, that corner, I think it was called Broad West, and it had a recorded plat a long time ago when Mabel Gemeinhart was here. That southeast corner of 30 in Whitcomb is zoned commercial C3. That could pop once Randy starts, somebody's gonna take some interest in that corner across from Lexus.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that traffic could spill onto Whitcomb as well. So it's long-term as we talk about this feasibility study with Robinson, next Tuesday, not only for Randy's development, but also directly on the corner there at 30 and Whitcomb.
So you're saying that almost down to 82nd, that is all C3? Because I know when we had the industrial guy come in here a few years ago wanting to do the whole 200 acres as an industrial development, everything behind, what would that be, Acura and Scapel and all that, all of that was all Ag 1 for years and years and years. So just that upper portion that would be in line with all the other commercials, that is zoned commercial today.
Yep.
Okay.
As far as I know, we haven't changed it, have we? We'd have to check the map, Sheila, but I think last I heard it was a recorded subdivision because in my other life, we moved our billboard sign from Scapel's property onto this person's property, and we're dealing with the daughter. And Margie, I think IHCD has got a lift station there on the south side of 30 there right next to the Acura dealership.
There is.
Right,
Yeah.
there is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyways, just something
Well,
to keep in mind. We're kind of drifting up north. I'm sorry, Randy. But it's part of the overall reason I called for both bodies to get together so we all
Sure.
know
Sense.
what's going on, so.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty extensive, corridor study.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're trying to plan for the future and it's gonna be pretty extensive.
How long did it take to widen Mississippi Street?
I was town manager
phase?
in 99. We did phase 1 from 30 to the bike trail. And then as I was leaving, they did phase 2 from the bike trail to 69th is phase 2.
No, I'm talking about south out
South?
by you, yeah.
Trying to think of when we started that, Steve. Do you
Yeah, that
remember?
got
You were still with Robinson.
Yeah, that got
When did we
started-
start that?
I want to say it was 2006.
So it took. a
20?
number-
No. He's talking about from 30 to
From
90.
30 down-
That was done in
Well,
Down to like
17 or 18, Brian.
That's what I thought. yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think the initial start for
Oh, the
federal
initial
funding
start.
and
Yeah, oh,
everything.
yeah, that's
and
back,
and
yeah.
actually completing it was in,
Yeah.
I think, 20.
Because we bought all the
2014.
right-of-way, Brian, from 30 all the way down to 101st.
Right.
All at once.
I want to say
So,
20,
so we're probably looking
2013.
at a good 2-year project.
Oh, yeah, this
Once,
one?
once we start, just to get Whitcomb Street widened.
Yeah.
You know, and how is that gonna affect your building if we're tearing out that street? I know in front of me on Madison Street, it was a 2-year project, and it was pretty tough.
Right. So, keeping in mind, we have 3 different uses: residential by Luxor Homes, luxury apartments, as we're discussing tonight, and then more of a retiree product. And so the neat thing about that is the traffic study spells out how these hit different timelines.
It does.
During the day of traffic.
Yeah.
Now, clearly, most of this is going to spill to Whitcomb, according to the traffic study, and I think common sense. So tearing up Whitcomb, it's going to be a pain in the butt, but a necessary evil to get to where we all need to go, I think. And then, obviously, the construction timeline, we're going into winter, so we might be able to get some pipe in the ground, but a lot of the work's not going to start till next spring.
Right.
You're looking at 9 to 12 months of infrastructure, before you go vertical, and then buildings and rental periods. So Mr. Pettit's request to start mutual discussions is spot on, and I think provides a consistent time frame for us all to coordinate this.
Fantastic.
Very good.
That's all I
What
have.
do you plan on charging for rent? I'm curious.
Actually came armed with data this time, because last time you asked. Give me just 1 second, I'll pull it up.
You're not moving out of Ward 4, are you, Margie?
Not right now,
Okay.
but you never know.
Values will be going up, so hang in there. Based on current rents and the timeline to build it and pricing in, the passage of time and what Randy alluded to, our stabilization year's 2025, have everything built and leased up. 1 bedroom around 1,700, a 2-bedroom will be around 2,500, and a 3-bedroom will be around 2,950.
Oh, okay, thank you. You will have a leasing office and all that too, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Mr. Ridge? Mr. Mallon?
No, I just wanted to say that I traverse that road every single day.
I know.
To and from work, and I've watched what's happened out there, and they're getting ready to pave.
We paved today.
Oh, you paved today? Okay. So I knew it was close, and yeah, just between the clearing out, building up of that 30-foot on the east side of the northbound lane, it's an incredible difference alone, let alone cleaning out the entire brush line. That's all I want to say is that you can actually see now out there.
Oh, yeah?
That
Yeah,
made a
somewhat.
huge, that made a huge difference, just
Yeah.
cleaning that up.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Brian?
Nope, I'm good.
Nothing? Sean?
No?
Jeff?
Sheila, read the
staff
report.
report? I remembered. Staff report, Sheila.
Petitioner is seeking final plan unit development, plat approval for Liberty Estates, Phase 5 on 17.487 acres in the plan unit development to build multifamily residential housing. This development will be called Liberty Estates Apartments. The subdivision will be served with common water, curb, gutter, street, sanitary stores, storm sewers, and street lights. Surface water will be piped into a detention pond via storm sewers.
Any more comments from the engineers? Bob? Steve?
No comments at this time.
Yeah, I don't have anything at this time.
Well, it looks like everything's in order. Can I have a motion?
Madam
to-
President, I make a motion, we approve P16 FP2-1022.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Patty. Could I have a second?
Second.
seconded by Mr. Pettit.
No,
I'm sorry, for Brian, seconded by Brian. And I don't know, do I need a roll call vote?
oh, yeah.
Okay, roll call vote, Mr. Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Mellon?
Yes.
Mr. Geary?
Yes.
Mr. Pettit?
Yes.
I'm a yes, Madam President.
Yes,
You have 5 yeses.
okay, 5 yeses,
6 yeses.
6?
Let's go with 6.
What?
6.
Okay, now you guys are confusing me. Well, anyway, it's been approved. Thank you for attending. Everything's approved.
Thanks.
All right. Now we will go on to item 3, P171S-1022. Providence Real Estate Development petitioner and owner, located at 73rd Avenue and Clark Street, requests final subdivision plat approval for Creekwood Crossing, Unit 3, Block 2. 24 lots on 12.74 acres in a R2 residential zoning district. Purpose, a single-family residential. Okay. I know we've
Good eve-
talked at the workshop.
Yes, we did. I'm Ken Jernberg with Providence Real Estate Development. And
Right.
we are seeking final plat approval for,
Yes, you're here for the plat approval. Do you have anything else to say?
and all the improvements are in. We'll be paving the streets by the end of the week. So then that'll be the end, the binder course, and we'll be doing the
Very good.
surface after the homes are built.
Questions by the board with comments, Mr. Rich?
No.
Chris Mellon?
Nope.
Brian Daring?
No, I think we've heard everything we need.
Yeah, at the workshop, I know we did.
Yeah.
Sean Pettit?
Nope.
Jeff Minchuk? Nope. Staff report, Sheila?
Petitioner is seeking final subdivision plat approval for Creekwood Crossing, Unit 3 in the R2 residential zoning district on 12.74 acres. This proposed subdivision will be called Creekwood Crossing, Unit 3, Block 2. It will be comprised of 24 single-family residents. The subdivision will be served with curbs, gutter streets, common water, storm sewers, street lights, and sanitary sewers.
Madam President, I make a motion to approve P17FS-1022 for discussion.
Motion for discussion by Mr. Pettit. Can we discuss?
I have a question of the petitioner over to Steve and Bob. You mentioned you're paving tomorrow?
By the end of the week.
By the end of the week, okay. We need to, Bob and Steve, and Steve knows where I'm probably going with this, guys, and this goes for Randy as well, because he's over there in earshot. If we're gonna take these streets in, I would appreciate if you guys would make sure that pavement is solid. I've always been taught in all my time on the council, you do not pave when temperatures are falling or they're below 45 degrees. I don't want to be having Steve come to us and inheriting a street where the paving was done in appropriate conditions, and then the town's going to end up taking care of that, and Margie's going to have to pave these streets in 3 years because
Yeah.
we put the asphalt down too cold. And I told Steve the same thing on my Mississippi, where Crow Holdings is doing all their stuff. I said, I don't want them paving if it's less than 50 degrees, because it's gonna flake, it's gonna crack, and it's gonna fail. So just keep that in mind, guys. Randy, my message to you might be too late. I don't know, you said you were paving today, and I know it was pretty cold and windy out there, but Steve, you and I have had this discussion, so help me out, man.
We have had this discussion, and in the town here, we follow NDOT specs, and the new specs are 40 degrees and rising.
40 degrees and rising.
Mixed designs have changed over the years since your last horror story.
Yeah. North
And
Mississippi.
we've talked about that several times.
Yep. All right, I appreciate it. You know
So
where I'm coming from.
believe me, I'm not, I'm gonna waste their money or the town's money,
Right.
Good.
by putting a road in inclement weather.
But all these things we've been approving, Steve, they are giving you bonds, right?
Oh, yeah,
We're getting
they're
maintenance
required by ordinance to,
Yeah.
for bonds, yes.
For bonds, okay.
Absolutely.
Good enough. All right, I'm fine.
Well, it's supposed to be 75
Right.
degrees
The
Saturday.
forecast is for better
Friday is
weather.
warming up, so
Friday
yeah.
We
Starts
lime stabilized the
warming
sub base. Of course, we had a proof rolled. We had this stone proof rolled after the curbs are in. Everything's
Okay.
fine, so.
Yeah.
And we'll pave, yeah, it's gonna be warm temperatures.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
every,
have one comment. I had a call yesterday or the day before. man in Crescent Lake called. He said there's a lot of traffic now going through Crescent Lake
Oh.
into
Yeah.
Creekwood Crossings.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, well, I haven't really watched it. Have you?
Yeah.
Seen it?
I've talked to Mr. King about that, but that's for a different subject. But yeah, the traffic has increased, and I'm gonna say at least threefold, if not better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that one subdivision, Crescent Lake, they see a lot of cars coming and going through there. So I thought I'd make that comment. Maybe something could be done later or now.
Is this just normal pedestrian traffic, or is this construction traffic, or what are they
No.
talking
It's
about?
traffic from people that are moving into that Creekwood crossing.
And it's also traffic for people that are trying to avoid the light at 73rd and Whitcomb.
Yeah,
Now, it used to be where, before they opened up Crescent Lake to Creekwood Crossing on my side, which was more, 74th,
right.
they were cutting through the neighborhood, and now they're going even farther out to avoid the traffic by cutting through to 74th to Morton. Now they're going through Creekwood, traversing that to come out actually at the entrance to bypass the traffic even farther down. And then
Well-
vice versa.
The residents there have noticed the Creekwood Crossing residents are cutting through their subdivision.
So they're cutting through on 75th and that over there too, further to the south?
I didn't hear you, Mr. King.
Chris, they're cutting through further to the south then, through the
Yeah.
subdivision
Yeah.
and cutting through
They're
that way?
Definitely.
they're even going farther
Sure.
out. So they're actually, if they're on Whitcomb, let's say going north, and then they're gonna make a left to go west on the 73rd. They're now turning on the 75th to turn on the 74th, going through the end of Crescent Lake, well, it'd be the northwest corner of Crescent Lake, through Creekwood to come out at the main exit so that they can continue and not hit the stoplight or the traffic at certain parts of the day when the buses are out there. They're blowing right through the whole thing to get past all of that.
When I'm looking at the map on that, Chris, I can't imagine why they would go all of these windy streets,
It's
just
only
trying
two
to
streets.
avoid,
Well, they are.
one stoplight, you know, that
Well,
just makes.
the traffic in the morning with the buses.
Right.
Especially on or on 73rd going, from, I think it would be from westbound to eastbound, that backs up all the way from almost Whitcomb
Okay,
to Morton.
okay.
And then the other way, when you're behind the buses, when they're traveling from eastbound to westbound,
Right.
it backs up all the way to where the owner that put in, he's got the huge barn, the pole barn there.
Right.
Oh, Reader's Barn.
Scott
Yes,
Reader?
Reader's barn there, it backs up
Reader.
all the way from Whitcomb and 73rd there, all the way to Reader's barn.
Wow.
So they're dodging through the neighborhoods to beat all that traffic, because even if you do get the light, you're still stuck behind the buses.
Well, it just isn't the buses.
Well, yeah.
I hear it goes on and off all day, more
It does.
traffic. So I didn't know if we could do anything about that, where we're at with it. I don't know. What do you think, Steve?
It's something we can, definitely monitor, keep an eye on, especially if they're speeding through there.
Sure.
With the increase in residential development that we have in the town, cars are gonna go where they're gonna go. They're gonna find a way to cheat the system or whenever they can, unfortunately. But it's something we can monitor,
Something we'll have to watch down the line.
absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Okay, with that all said, could I have a motion to approve?
We have a motion and a
Oh,
second, Madam
motion
President.
on the floor
Call
by
for the
Sean.
vote.
Second?
Who was the second?
Who was the second?
Jeff was.
Oh, Jeff the second. Okay, let's have a roll call vote. Jeff?
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Melvin?
Yes.
Mr. Gearing?
Yes.
Mr. Pettit?
Yes.
I am a yes. And Madam President,
Yes.
opposed, 6 yeses.
6 yeses, the motion approved.
Thank you.
Thank you for attending. Continuing on with the agenda, item 4, P18FP3-1022, Ali Karolzak / Redwood of Aurora petitioner and Randy Hall owner, located at approximately 3800 West 87th and 84th Whitcomb Street. Final planned unit development plat approval for Liberty Estates Phase. Purpose, 4 on Liberty Estates Phase 4 on 30.5 acres in a planned unit development. Purpose, residential. Okay.
All right, so,
Hi, we met you at the workshop.
yep, I think we went through a lot of this
Sure.
2 weeks ago, so happy to answer any additional questions, but otherwise I'll save you guys time.
Yeah, I think you had everything together, Ellie. What about questions and comments? Mr. Rich,
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Mellon,
Looks good.
Brian, Daring?
Looking at your broshure, and yeah, it looks really nice.
Yeah. I think we had those at the workshop too, right. I liked it.
Yeah.
We do pre-leasing, just so you know.
All right, say
We do
again.
pre-leasing, just so you know.
Sean, Pettit?
No.
Nothing? Jeff? Staff report, Sheila?
Petitioner is seeking final plan unit development plat approval for Liberty Estates Phase 4 on 30.5 acres. The proposed subdivision will be called Redwood of Merrillville. Redwood single-story apartment homes with a density of 7.31 units per acre. The development will be served with common water, sanitary sewers, storm sewers, concrete drive aisles, surface water aisles, and surface waters will be collected in storm sewers and conveyed to off-site regional basin.
Any comments, Steve or Bob?
I don't have any at this time.
Nothing?
Nothing at this time.
Well, if everything's in order, could I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pettit, seconded by Mr. Rich. Roll call vote, please. Jeff?
Mr. Rich? Yes. Mr. Mellon?
Yes.
Mr. Gearing?
Yes.
Mr. Pettit?
Yes.
I am a yes, Madam President.
Yes.
6 yeses.
Motion is approved with 6 yeses. Thank you for attending and good luck with your development.
Yep.
Okay, any other business, board members? None? Any discussion tonight? We want to discuss anything, Jeff? Sean?
I'll be here with you, Mark.
What?
If we're, and this
Oh,
might be
Brian.
something for the meeting next week, I know it's going to be mostly Whitcomb Street, but since Whitcomb Street doesn't dead end, but it, pretty much ends at 73rd, have we ever looked into the feasibility of widening 73rd?
I think what we'll probably end up doing, Brian, and I was going to mention this when Chris was talking about the meandering and the roads, and I'm hoping that you citizen members realize this, that we have had an RFP out for a new comprehensive plan. And Pat has scored those, and I believe, Sheila, the team, Sheila and Steve and Matt Lake and Angie and Pat scored the proposals, and they have a consultant in mind. I don't know if it's been officially awarded, but as a part of the comprehensive plan, it's going to have land use in it, it's going to have demographics in it, but it's also going to have a thoroughfare plan component to it. So I think we would obviously address that in that part of it, Brian, with the consultant when we start in
especially with-
2023.
And just for knowledge, I've been out in Valpo a ton in the last few months because I had a death in the family, and I'm taking care of my aunt's affairs. Valpo, the way that they have designed those roundabouts, a couple of them really make sense. And I'm still gonna beat that horse for the one at Taft Street. I just don't know how that's gonna work. I really don't. It's gonna really screw up 73rd. There's a big roundabout out by Strachan Van Til's where 5 roads come together. And it does make sense, but it's,
Where, by the old Urschel?
up north there.
Calumet Avenue
Yeah,
North.
up north on Calumet Avenue.
Oh, yeah.
And it does make sense up there,
Yeah.
because you've got 5 roads coming together at angles.
Yeah.
But to do one at 73rd and Taft, I don't know. I don't know how we could stop it.
Well, if
I
it's
think it's
NDOT,
gonna
yeah, you
make it
can't.
100 times worse.
Yeah. Well, I'm going through it in Hobart with one of my Lamar signs at 61st and Marcella. And we've got to move that billboard. That abandoned building is coming down, and they've taken a lot of the right of way, and they're also putting a Dunkin' Donuts in there, and we've got to move our billboard. And so that whole, I want to see how 61st and Marcella operates. They're in the right of way acquisition portion of the project. And You know, because you've got Arby's and that Family Express on the south side, you've got Wendy's, and this abandoned building I'm referring to on the north side.
Yeah.
You know, that
Where are you
signal's
talking
going away, and they have right now an exclusive right, Steve, and then the second lane is a right, a straight, or a left in that one lane, and I'll be curious. I tell you what, if you guys have gotten on I-65 in the last 3 weeks, when the ramps were closed, no disrespect to our neighbors in Crown Point, I can't understand why they put a double dog bone at 109th Avenue. That was, I struggled with that going up I-65 a couple different times, you know?
I get it.
I don't know.
I get it. I don't understand it either.
For somebody there in Taft that went to the meetings in that had, and then more discussions went on here, there's not too much we can do to stop it.
Well,
It's
'cause
pretty much set in stone.
You know, these roundabouts have become the flavor of the day,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, and like the one at Colorado Street and the railroad tracks. That makes no sense.
That one's, that's
whatsoever.
terrible over
I'm not
there.
saying I'm against them.
That's terrible.
I'm saying I'm for them. They don't bother me either way.
Yeah, I mean-
I know some people think they're the Antichrist.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the, hey, here we are.
Yeah.
You know, they have the traffic studies, they say they're more safer, they
Yeah.
show everything they can do better. I hate to say it, but we're just gonna have to live with it.
I don't mind them, Jeff, if it's vehicular traffic. What I'm concerned about, like the double dog bone, and they were talking to us about 79th in Mississippi, and even up, you know, at Aunt Millie's on 69th, is the trucks
Sure.
trying to get through those things, conflicting with us vehicular, smaller cars, even SUVs.
I know, I mentioned this before, and I think you've mentioned it before as well. And it's gonna be a long meeting with a million options, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But when we get to that traffic, study, and if we don't straighten that street out, maybe a roundabout there would be okay.
Where is this
And
at,
I'm,
Jeff?
I don't know.
the bad,
Well, Whitcomb,
the bad dog leg there.
Oh.
If we don't straighten out that curve on Whitcomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put a circle there so people slow down, they come around the circle one way, then back around the other. It might be,
see, our problem with this Whitcomb Street thing,
not next.
my 2 cents, Bob, you guys are gonna struggle, is the bike path.
Yep.
What do you do with the bike path? But Jeff's got a good idea. Do you straighten it out? Well, if you go north and south, you got the Erie Lackawanna there. What are you gonna do with the Erie Lackawanna traffic? Now,
Yeah.
I know if we had a big, money tree in the backyard, as my mom used to say, and we could do what Portage did on US 6 and put the bike trail underneath Whitcomb, that'd be great.
Or if Whitcomb
But,
just gets widened, you put a small circle roundabout thing.
yeah, I mean, I don't know what that's the bigger, I think that's one of the bigger hurdles.
Well, and I
we're gonna
know,
face is what to do with that bike trail.
right, and I know the three roundabouts.
Skybridge.
Yeah.
It can be,
The three roundabouts that I've dealt with out in Valpo, the worst one of the bunch, but also the best working one of the bunch, is the big one up north by Strax.
Yeah.
But when you get a semi or a delivery truck, you know, like a box truck come
Yep.
flying through there, they don't slow down for
Nope.
the yield. They just, they own the road,
Yeah.
and
I
they
gotta
take
make my
up basically
deliveries.
both lanes, you
All
know.
this discussion brings me to my next question.
Yep.
I know we got a lot to talk about when it comes to this.
Mm-hmm.
5:45 gonna be enough time next week.
And
mean,
I'm
we
on
can-
shift, so.
I mean, if we need to, we got enough time to change it. If we think, you know, if it's the consensus, I can tell Joanna to push it to 5:30, or if you want 5 o'clock, I mean, you want an hour, we can go from 5 o'clock to.
Possibly an
5
hour.
o'clock might be better.
All right, well then
Why,
I'll
are
let,
you going to be there?
That'll work
I'll
for
be
me,
here.
but does
Okay.
that
I'll
work
be
for
there.
you guys that are also involved in other boards and?
I mean,
stuff
there's
and
no other
council?
meetings that night, Chris, besides I've got
Okay.
6:15 redevelopment and then the council at
Right.
6:30,
And I'll just
so.
have to tell
We
Nipso
can,
I'll be in when I'm
Randy's
in.
diligently writing here, if you guys wanna push it to 5 o'clock, I'll have her reissue
Please.
the notice, we have enough.
I mean,
48
Okay,
hours.
instead of
guys-
5:45, 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock, all right,
Okay.
I'll tell her
5
tomorrow.
o'clock.
but Sean, is this meeting we're gonna have next week, that's gonna be more to talk about
Tuesday,
how we're gonna
October
fund this
25th.
thing?
Well, how we're gonna fund this thing, and then, you know, how long is it gonna take? You know, we want Randy's input
Yeah.
on, you know,
We have to get somewhat of a battle plan to know how much we're gonna, it's gonna, you know.
yeah.
Well,
How
there's
long is it gonna take you guys, Bob?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can discuss that.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I have my transportation expert.
Yeah.
And we talk about, different ideas come up as we just talked tonight. I mean.
Sure.
I was ready to adjourn the meeting,
I
and,
know. Well,
but, yeah, you start talking and you start thinking about other stuff, so I think an hour and 15 will be fine.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
I'll do
Thank
that.
you, Brian. Thanks
Okay.
to Brian.
Thanks.
Madam
right.
President,
Yeah, throw me
Yes.
under the,
I make a motion to adjourn.
So
Second.
moved. Okay. Meeting is adjourned at approximately 7:05. Thank you all for attending. Have a good evening.
And Randy, just an FYI, I like this, well, you may want to bring that board with you next Tuesday.